Hi, so let's begin. So welcome everybody to this session on postgraduate study. I'm Bernie, work for the Careers and Employability team as a careers consultant. If you've got any questions, please feel free to either pop your hand up and then pop your mic on and speak, or if you prefer to use the chat function, I'll do my best. Obviously, whilst talking, it's not always easy to actually see the questions, but hopefully there'll be time at the end as well to ask any questions. Okay. So, what we're going to be looking at in this session is what forms postgraduate study takes, why pursue it, how do you apply and ultimately write that personal statement, and how do you fund it? Okay, so what forms it takes. There's lots of terminology, and with terminology, it can always leave people feeling a little bit daunted or not quite sure what it means. So you can do a taught masters, which is a 1-year full-time course. There's a research masters, usually 2 years full-time. Vocational masters, which is 1 to 2 years. So that might be things such as training to be a social worker, an accelerated nursing course, or teacher training. You can do an integrated masters stroke PhD. PhD, which is your doctorate or a professional doctorate. So those are the things when we talk about postgraduate study in terms of the qualifications that you can do. And what I've put here is some of the terminology. So what an MSc means, which is a Master of Science, which is a description of any scientific master's course. And then you've got your MA, which is Master of Arts, which describes any arts or humanities master's course. You've got the MRes, which is the Master of Research, and it's usually used to describe courses that include at least one large research project. So if you've got a desire to do some specific research, then an MRes is usually a way forward in postgraduate study. The Master of Philosophy, MPhil, is awarded to candidates who've completed that substantial amount of research for longer than 2 years, but not quite done enough to get the PhD. And then, of course, there is the Doctor of Philosophy, so the PhD or DPhil, which is 3 to 4 years, where you carry out a substantial piece of original research, and then you write up your thesis and you do your exam orally as well, you present. And then lastly on there is the PGCE, so which is the Postgraduate Certificate in Education, which is a 1-year higher education course that trains you to become a teacher. Okay, so hopefully that just gives you an idea of the terminology when you see courses and it's an MA or it's an MSc or MPhil, that you feel a little bit more sure about what that actually means, what you'll be doing. Okay, I've put some resources on there with regards to, because I don't know what stages you're at, sorry, but if you're looking for masters, there's find a master's and find a PhD as well on there. So that should get you started. So the next thing to think about is, why do you want to pursue postgraduate study? And if you want to just take a minute in the chat box and actually just give me an idea of what you're thinking, you know, why you want to pursue postgraduate study. It may be that it's you've got a specific vocation you want to do, like teaching, or that you're just really interested in your subject and you just want to carry on. So if you can just give me an idea. not into great details, but just use the chat box and chat away to me. That's great. Okay, so that's fantastic. So first one, yeah. So learn more about your subject. Yeah, okay. Okay, so interested in my subject, want to improve employability, like to pursue a career in a museum and heritage, feels a great journey to take. Yep. Cover the bad grades. Okay. Able to teach others subjects you're interested in. Fantastic. Okay, and for some it might be that you have to do it. It's the way to get into a specific career sector. Gain potential experience studying abroad. Extending my depth of knowledge of the subject. Yeah. Okay, any more? Has everyone? Those are really, really good reasons. Okay, so reasons to pursue your postgraduate study, and you've all got really good reasons that you've just said to me. It's that passion for your discipline. You want to carry on learning about the subject. You might feel that you've got unfinished business, so I think it was cover the bad grades, but you might feel that you can sort of moving forward because but some people they need to it's a whole new way when you come to university and how you have to write academic assignments, etc. And we all learn differently, and some people don't. It takes a year or so to actually get into the swing of things. So that unfinished business, that's why that's there. Wish to work or study in another country, because those are options as well where you can actually study internationally, and there are some links where you can look if any of you are interested in that. Employability, which you said as well, to improve your ability to enhance all the skills that you're gaining from your degree and taking them up another gear. Status, some people kind of want to just get the MA, they just want that status. Equally, it's a deferral mechanism. There are times, and especially at the present time, I know that you get to the end of your 3 or 4 years at university and you have no idea what you want to do. So doing postgraduate study is a simple deferral mechanism because it gives you another year to decide moving forward what career sector you want to go into. So enhancing employability, which we talked about, just some things for you to think about. Carefully select your course and be clear how it's going to add value. Okay. A lot of universities, in fact, almost all of them, when they've got their web pages with regards to the course, how it's the modules, etc., how you're going to be learning, also will have a careers thing on there to say this is what careers you can go into if you do this postgraduate course. Also, one of the things I would suggest is you use your summer after graduation to prepare for the course, so complement its emphasis. So again, you're all going to be very varied depending on the courses that you're going to do. But it may be, for example, if anybody is thinking about doing a social work master's, hasn't quite been able to get work experience or volunteering due to the COVID situation, then summer, let's fingers crossed, next summer, we will be in a position to actually get some volunteering experience, etc. And it gives you that when you go in to a master's, you've already got some volunteering experience and it's complementing. Be proactive on the course as well in creating and seizing opportunities. So just like I'm sure you have been at Kiel, just think about if there's things like, being able to learn another language, if there's opportunities to do internships or employability opportunities dependent on the course. Some might offer placements, and just make sure that you do seize all those opportunities. And the networking, it's really, really important that you network, start create those contacts. It does seem a million miles away at the moment with regards to building your network, but there's still ways that you can be doing that now. A lot of things have moved online, and there are still job fairs, networking events going on. So it's a good idea to even think now what's going on, building your network. Kiel Connect, I don't know if any of you have heard of that, but that is where graduates, so the alumni, go on to Kiel Connect. But equally, it's they are willing to mentor students. So students are able to sign up to Kiel Connect and be mentored by a Kiel graduate, so alumni. And that's a great way of seeing if there's anybody who studied your subject or might be working in an area that you're really interested in doing, and just being able to have that sort of peer chat about, how did you get into this area of work, etc. And that's a great way to build your network. And also make the most of your learning experience, to enhance your employability, just as you're all doing at the moment on your undergrad degree, where we say, whether you're doing sports, societies, volunteering, a part-time job, just make the most of that time again. Okay, when it comes to making the applications, the majority are direct applications, okay, and there's no limit. So this is no longer like your dreaded UCAS where you had to pick 5. So you can actually just go direct to the university, and you will do your application. So you'll need your transcript, a personal statement, and academic references, okay. Don't worry too much about your transcript. That is not going to come until you've actually got your official degree classification. So when you make an application for a postgraduate course, you are going to be given a conditional offer, because that are that you've got to get a certain grade, and they'll wait for you to send confirmation of your degree classification and your transcript. Obviously, there are always exceptions whenever we say the majority are direct. There are things such as social work, you will go through UCAS. Teaching, you also go through UCAS. Anybody who wants to be a solicitor needs to go through law caps, and educational psychology, EPFT. Okay, so those are the clearing houses. But otherwise, you will be making direct applications, okay, to the universities. So the next thing is the personal statement. And I just want to reassure you that this is going to be nothing like the UCAS personal statement, okay? So for anybody who might still be just having a shudder about writing a personal statement again for a course, you'll be pleased to know that it's much more straightforward. So your starting point when it comes to your statement, think about your application from the perspective of the admissions tutor. So think about your audience, who you're writing that for. Think about your tone as well. So you're not writing it in the style of an academic essay. Okay, you are going to be a lot more concise and to the point. And then the points you make should really resemble a job application more than an academic argument. So it is going to be very concise and very to the point. So what they're going to be looking for when you do your personal statement is your motivation, your enthusiasm, and a clear understanding of why you're making the application to a particular course and a particular institution. How your academic background and other experiences have shaped your decision to apply, and how the course is going to contribute to your plans for the future. And it is absolutely fine if at this moment in time you're thinking of a course and you think, well, I don't know what I want to do long term, but short term, this is what I'm hopeful to do. So you don't have to have your career plan for the next 50 years set out, but you do need to give them an idea of how it's going to fit. And that's equally because the university don't want to put you on a course where, say, for example, you sign up for a history master's when your long-term desire is actually to go into counselling. So that's where they just want to know how it's going to fit with your future plans. And then evidence that you've got the ability, the experience and skills to complete it, because of course universities, they are businesses. You're going to start a course, they want you to finish that course. So you need to just show them how your undergraduate degree has equipped you ready for the next level. When it comes to the structure and content, it's usually one side of A4, so it's about 300 to 500 words. Some universities might say more, so check the guidelines. When you do your online application to the university, it will tell you if there's any specific things that you need or how long your personal statement should be. So any instructions, please follow, because some are quite prescriptive and structured. They might give you questions that they require you to answer. So follow them really, really carefully. So just going back just to refresh on those points then. So thinking about why you want to study the topic or a particular field. When you're starting to write your statement, just go straight to the point of why you're applying. So it could be, for example, I wish to apply for counselling and psychology because long term, I would like to train to be a counsellor. It's okay to personalise this as a genuine motivation, and that really stands out. And it's okay to mention any inspirational person you've met or a life experience that's got you interested in that particular area as well. So, for example, it might be that you really want to go into environmental science or studies because after watching Blue Planet, you realise that you want to make a positive impact on that area. So that's okay as well. Why you've chosen this specific course and institution, so that's important, okay. Here you've just got to show you've researched both the institution and the department offering the course. Has there been any specific reasons that you've done that? So it might be that there's opportunities for you to do work placements, or you could work in collaboration. There might be specific modules that have attracted you. So you've done something at Keele and it will give you an opportunity to carry on studying that particular module. It might be there's an academic that you know about and you really want to be taught by them. And then if you've attended any open days or any other things, mention that as well. So for example, you can say, after visiting the university on an open day, I felt it was a really friendly place. I feel like I would be well suited and like to spend a year sort of studying here. And it is just your own individual honest motivation of why you want to go there. And then think about how your experience equips you for the course. As I said, you need to provide specific evidence here of the skills and knowledge you've gained during your undergraduate studies. and include any prior relevant experience. So if you've got any technical, language, computing, research methods. So again, it'd be very dependent on what you're applying for with regards to what you're going to include in this part. Highlight any modules that you've studied that think will give you a useful foundation, as I said previously. And if you're applying for a program that's different, then spell out how your skills are transferable to the new course. Because there are, and we know, there are people that you can go on to do a master's completely unrelated to your degree, but it's just making sure that that institution you're applying for knows that you've got the skills that's going to equip you to complete that course. Okay, don't forget to leave space to talk about your co-curricular interests and activities and work experience that's provided you with any valuable skills. So, for example, any client-facing experience, whether that's from a shop, a cafe, or an event, that's essential people skills. So when you're talking, if you're applying for things such as teaching, social work, or legal training, then don't sort of undervalue them thinking, well, I just worked in a coffee shop. Really think about how you can actually showcase those skills on your statement. And remember, add a closing paragraph to summarise your application. So return to any themes. So basically, you're just summing up your enthusiasm for the course. And keep in mind the perspective of the tutor and any requirements. And I think what's really important is to remember you're not alone. So careers are here to support you. You are more than welcome to actually send in your personal statements to the careers team. So the email is careers@keele.ac.uk, and you can send that in and we will be more than happy to read over your personal statement and send you any feedback. So hopefully the personal statement doesn't seem as daunting now. And then just remember as well, you know, in terms of summing up about your future plans and where that course is going to lead to. Okay. And it might be, and again, it's going to be very varied because you're all individual. Some of you might be wanting to do a PhD. Some of you want to do a particular focus on a particular issue. Some of you may have a particular job where you have got to do that course of study. Okay. So when it comes to funding, there are several options. One of the main funding options is the postgraduate loan scheme. Now, the postgraduate loan scheme actually sits separately to your undergraduate loan. So if you apply for the postgraduate loan, then that actually sits as a completely separate loan that you've taken out from student finance. Now, it was, I think, £10,750, and you can either take out, say, for example, £1,000 to the full limit. However, there's that is it. That £10,500 will have to cover your tuition fees, if it's accommodation, if you're not going to, if you need to move away, and then living expenses. There are things, other avenues that could be university funding. Okay, this may not pay for all of your course and costs. However, there are things like bursaries that you need to look into, and this will be dependent on the university that you want to apply to. So there should be somewhere where you can actually a page for bursaries, scholarships. So, for example, there might be a psychology department at a specific university that gives out £1,000 scholarships. Some might say that they cover the cost of your tuition fees. Each university is going to be very different, so you do need to check this out. Anybody that's also thinking about moving away to university, so not staying at Keele, I would actually encourage, if you need to then pay for accommodation, so you've got no other option, you need to go into halls, it may be useful to look at what opportunities they've got in halls to do things like residential life advisors, etc. Wardens, some are called wardens, because then you will get the cost of your accommodation for free. However, you are going to have to spend 3 or 4 nights on duty. So again, don't take it lightly, but just think of that as another avenue of exploring as well. Charities and trusts, there may be, again, dependent on the course that you want to do. There might be specific charities that can help. Work and using savings, but obviously if you're going to be looking for a part-time job whilst you're studying, then just be careful, because it is actually really demanding, and obviously I'm sure you're all aware of that, but for anybody who's your 3rd year now, you will actually appreciate just how much the pressure's starting to hit in the 3rd year, so it's just being mindful of that. You might even want to consider part-time mode, so if that fits in with your plans better, or being able to fund your course. And I've put some resources there with regards to the postgraduate loan, postgraduate study funding for the research councils, career development loans, which I actually think have gone now. I should have actually checked that link. I've got a feeling they've gone. And then there's the postgraduate funding gateway, okay, on there. I won't click on that link now desperately to see, because I'll probably break Teams. And then for anybody who's interested in studying in other countries, then there are some links there. So to find master's or PhD courses in other areas of the world, and also about the funding aspects of that as well. Now that is me finished. That is a bit of a whirlwind, but that is the main aspects that I wanted to cover. And so I've left time for questions that you might have for me. So feel free, either raise your hands or just use the chat box. Just to say, by the way, the slides and the recording will be available by the end of next week for this session. Okay, so what's the average deadline for master's applications? That's a good question. And again, it depends on the course that you want to apply to. So for example, anybody who wanted to apply for medicine, it had to be in by the 15th of October. So it very much depends on the courses. Universities will have, if they want like popular courses, for example, like counselling and psychotherapy, they have deadlines of January, an early deadline, February time. But the university on their page, what subject you want to study, will have the deadline on there. Ordinarily, for any other courses, they will keep a university, if they've got spaces on that course, will keep taking applications for 2 weeks after the course is started. Because basically they want that course full, and they will keep taking applications up until a point where they think, okay, no one else can join now because you've missed a little bit too much. Okay, thanks, Holly. Right, tips on selecting the best masters for you. I'm assuming you're saying how do I pick which is the best course? or is it general? I'm not quite sure, sorry. It is actually just doing research. So just like when you came, there was a reason you picked Keele. You did some research around that. So again, wherever you do your masters, it's the same principles, it's the same research. So, for example, you would attend open days. So a lot of them are still doing virtual open days. I know it's not the same, but for example, if you were thinking of moving and in accommodation, you would want to go and actually have a visit to those universities, see what was on offer, speak out to academics. Okay, right. So how to stand out from other applicants and what opportunities does Keele provide to improve skill sets? Can you tell me what course you're actually interested in applying to? I think that would make more sense because if you could, neuroscience. Okay, so with regards to neuroscience, you actually just need to write your statement, as I've just said. So looking back, and it's a very personal thing, what your motivation is, and what opportunities Keele provide to improve your skill sets. I'm guessing you're third year now. So it's whether you've taken opportunities to do a part-time job, you're volunteering, etc. So I think it's very much a case of, without knowing you, I can't say what skill sets are missing or anything, but what I would say, that you put a statement together based on what I've put there, how you structure your statement, and send that into careers. Okay, Gemma, if you want to stay at Keele, is it a different application process? Gemma, yes, so, but not always. You will need to check. And the reason you can never just say yes, it completely is, because there will always be some course that will be different. But the majority of courses, and again, it's dependent on what you want to study. So things like if you want to do physician's associate, you will need to make an application. However, if you want to do a master's in history, there is every chance you just need to email admissions and let them know you want to stay on. So you won't actually need to do the application process or the personal statement, because they already know your details and they can already have the information that they need. So again, it will be dependent on what you want to study at Keele. Hope that makes sense, but you can just double check, and you could easily either email admissions and say, will I actually need to put in a formal application? There's also a postgraduate study afternoon coming up on Wednesday. I don't know if you signed up for any of to speak to people there, and that's a good way. You can either speak to the academics, or admissions are also available to speak to virtually. Right. Yes, the fees are less. You get 20% off. Okay, so the fees are less if you study at Keele, which is always a bonus. You can apply now. The applications should all be open. The only reason when applications is because they have to finish. You know how I've just said they will happily take on applicants 2 weeks after the start of the course. So basically, sorry, I get distracted when the questions start coming in. So basically, usually about middle of October, end of October, then the new applications are open to start next September, October time. So they should be available for you to apply. Is the MRes a 2-year course? Well, as I said, yes. Which will be better, an MA or an MRes? it depends on what you want to study. It depends on whether you want to do a specific area of research. So there isn't one way, one thing better than another. Okay, has anybody got any more questions? Hopefully I've answered everybody's question, because it's really difficult answering chat questions, but if anyone feels like they're still not quite sure, please just let me know. And you're really welcome. I would actually ignore the career development loan, because I don't actually think it exists. The career development loan was something where you could go to your bank, HSBC, I think, and it was Barclays, and they would lend you up to £4,000 from the bank, because it was actually to develop your career, because you might have wanted to do a specific thing like train to be a teacher, train to be a social worker. But just ignore the career development loan. Okay, any other questions before we just round up the session? I just want to say good luck to everybody, because I know with the rest of your third year, I know it's not the best situation at the moment, but just remember, we are still here at Careers to help you. So just please email in or book appointments. If you just want some feedback on your statement, it's actually easier to email in. And I'll just put in the chat, careers@peel.ac.uk, because then because if you book an appointment, sometimes if we're reading things, we're just sat there for sort of 10-15 minutes while we read through. Whereas equally, if we're reading through your statement, and we can write feedback on a Word document as well and get that sent back to you. So either way, or if you're just completely stuck, then just please give us a shout. Don't just sit struggling. Okay, any other questions before we sign off, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, thanks everybody, because I appreciate it's not the same not seeing you all in person. I really miss it, but please, as I say, just drop me a line if there's anything. The slides are available, so you'll be able to click on the links and actually start doing a bit of research. And if you get stuck, just let me know, or let somebody in careers know, and we'll lend you a hand. All right. Have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of your Friday. I'm going to sign off now. Okay, thank you.